Welcome to the Silver and Black Show. In this week's overview, brought to you by Hawaiian Airlines, Jim and I get you ready for a matchup on the road against the Jets. I sit down with go-to receiver Hunter Renfrow, and head coach John Gruden joins Chris Townsend to break down the challenge of Jamal Adams. All that and more on the Silver and Black Show, starting right now.
Third and 5. Gets rid of it in a hurry, and it is Streeter streaking to the end zone for the touchdown. And what a block he got from James Jones, and Derek Carr has his first NFL touchdown pass.
3 straight wins, the playoffs within reach, and the Raiders are back on the road to face the New York Jets. Welcome to the Silver and Black Show. I'm your host, Nicole, Zaloumis, alongside our 2-time Super Bowl champion, Jim Plunkett. Jim, it's a good time to be a Raiders fan because they're churning out these games that are so much fun to watch. What have you seen over the last 3 weeks?
Well, I think a lot of big plays have occurred over these last 3 weeks. Good, solid defense when they needed it around the goal line to stop a drive and maybe possibly tie up the score. Otherwise, they've had long drives on offense to help put games away. It's been a real fun 3 weeks, and hopefully they're going to continue that streak against the Jets.
Well, now they need to put the pedal to the floor because the Jets, they struggled at the start of the season,
Right.
But they're coming off a little win streak of their own.
Yeah, they are. They're playing much better football. Obviously, the teams they played, the Giants and the Redskins, are struggling as well, but their numbers are up big time. Darnold is playing much better right now. He had 10 turnovers early in the season. In the last 2, he's only had 1. He's got 6 touchdowns in 2 games. He's only had 6 touchdowns in the prior 8 games. So he's playing much better, making that offense move, putting points on the board, averaging 34 points over the last 2 games at least.
Let's go back to the clip that we saw at the start of the show because that was 2014, Derek Carr making his first start. My, how things have changed. 88 starts in between that, a few different people calling the plays. Do you think this is going to be an emotional game for him because he's going to go back to the first time he got a start?
I don't know. He's been around the league long enough. Whether it is or not, I couldn't tell you for sure. But I think it'll be exciting for him. It'll be exciting for the team. They can get a 4th win in a row against a team who's struggling, and that would be very helpful in this last few games going into the stretch of the season. Just right behind Kansas City.
How much has he changed and grown during that time as a quarterback?
Well, I think he's grown tremendously. He's more of a leader. He's comes up with big plays, and he's putting points on the board, which is extremely important. But I think his confidence is back after he broke his leg a few years ago. I don't think he's been the same quarterback, but lately he's playing extremely well. I know he's gone through a lot of different personnel changes, but right now, he's playing lights out.
We mentioned that the Jets are coming off of a 2-game win streak here. They face the Redskins and the Giants. When you look at quality of play, quality of opponent, how do you assess those 2 wins?
Yeah, it's hard to assess. Even the Raiders' opponents haven't been all that great, and the Jets coming off 2 wins. This is the NFL. You can get beat on any given Sunday. So they did what they had to do to win the football games, and you have to give them credit. Better on offense, better on defense. They seem to be improving as well as the Raiders.
What do you make of Le'Veon Bell? Because he's given a big contract. He's only averaging just over 3 yards per carry.
Right.
I know fans in New York had different expectations for him.
Well, no, not a lot of the big plays that you would expect from Le'Veon Bell, but a lot of carries, 161 attempts, over 500 yards, and sometimes the length of the run doesn't matter, but he gets enough yardage, enough carries in the course of a game to keep the ball away from the other team, and that's very important.
Defensively for the Jets, Jamal Adams comes to mind. We're facing a safety that we're not quite used to.
Oh, he's been phenomenal this season. He's got 6 sacks, 5 tackles for losses. That's very, very unusual for a defensive back. He finds a hole and he comes after the quarterback. He's athletic. He's jumped over blocks to get to the quarterback. In one game, he actually ripped the ball out of the quarterback's hands and took it in for a score. So he's a guy that the offensive line and the running back has to keep their eye on so they don't let him into the backfield and to harass the quarterback.
Well, and another matchup that's going to be quite the test is Josh Jacobs versus this rush defense. We're going to see what this rookie is made of.
Oh, he's tough as nails as far as I'm concerned. The Jets are only giving up 79 yards a game on the ground, which is phenomenal, number 1 in the league. But we do run the ball well, and it will be a test. And I think we're going to stick with that run game. If we can get the run game working, especially against the Jets, it's going to open up passing lanes down the field. So, run the ball, make it happen. and if not, go to the air. But I like our chances running the ball.
Earlier, Jim, off camera, we were talking about the run game. And if it isn't successful, do you stick to it?
I think you do. I think it's very crucial to be able to run the football against the Jets. And although the yardage that the Jets have given up, only 79 yards a game, if we can make a dent in that, if we can keep the ball away from the offense of the Jets and grind it out with Jacobs, it might be a little difficult at the beginning possibly because they're going to be keen on Josh. But I think you stick to it until, if it doesn't work, then you make a change and go to the air a little bit more. But keep running the football. I think that'll be a key to this victory. Well,
Jim, we mentioned Jamal Adams earlier. You gave me your assessment. Why don't we hear from head coach John Gruden, because he joins us next to break down some film.
Well, Coach, the best part about doing this show is after wins. Raiders are winning right now. You got a nice little streak going.
Really proud of our team. You come off a tough road stand, and to get back in this race, to have a chance, you have to win. Take advantage of these home games. Our crowd has been awesome. Having a chance to win 3 games in front of your home fans is something we're excited about, but the Jets have our attention. They're a hot football team now, and they're talented.
Something that's really special is after the games, and I'll be in the locker room and listening to you talk to your team and how much you truly care about these guys. You got a lot of young players who are Max Crosby. All these guys, Jacobs. This team means something to you. It's really a special relationship you have.
Well, it is, and I want that to be mutual. I want everybody to be part of a family. Coaches and players, players and coaches. We got a great front office. I think that atmosphere is really important, and I love the Raiders, and wouldn't be here if I didn't, and really excited about the progress we're making, but I still respect how far we have to go.
And something we always talk about is, each week it's going to be tough. The other guys get paid too, and now you're going to New York, a place where the Raiders haven't won since 1996.
Thanks for bringing that up, Tony. You got to start bringing up some of the positive stats, But, they got a safety man here at Tony. His name is Jamal Adams, number 33. And when you watch it from the end zone here on the right side of your screen, he doesn't just go through there in the perfect angle. He comes in there with authority, and he has great playing speed. He's an impact tackler, one of the high-effort players that you will see play the safety position. He's all over the field, and they love him in the box. He's blitzing. He's got 6 sacks in his last 3 games. And he'll run through gaps, and he'll run you down and find you. And he's usually not in a real good mood when he gets there. But he's made some memorable plays here for the Jets. Just a second-year player from LSU coming off the right side of the screen. And he's a problem. We got to deal with this guy. Yes, he is.
But the one thing that, we're seeing from your offense once again is running the football. That's a big staple for you, is running the football. You got the biggest offensive line in the game. You got a great young running back out of Alabama. It's something you really like to do, is you like to pound the rock.
Well, I do. And when you look at the green here, they're the number 1 rushing defense in the league. They load the box with defenders. They make it really hard on you to run the ball. I think one of the things we have to do is stay committed to the running game because we are good at it. And then when we do throw it, we got to make sure we know who to block. We got to make sure we know how to block, and we got to let everybody know we look forward to blocking, because if you're not ready, this is what Jamal Adams, number 33, can do to you, Townie. This is a play like you used to make when you played football. You run over the back, you walk him right back to the quarterback, and you snatch the ball out of the quarterback's hands, and you rip it out and you run it back for a touchdown. So when you see stuff like that, you walk downstairs and you show your running backs and tight ends, you say, number 33. Let's know where he is at all times. But it'll be a great run defense of the Jets against a pretty good run offense in the Raiders, and we'll see him at 1 o'clock.
That is the ultimate respect, is when the coaching staff is saying there's one guy and you got to know where he is at all times.
Well, the Jets have a lot of good players, and their defensive coordinator, Greg Williams, has been around a long time. He's got ties to Buddy Ryan, some of the best in football, and he has a lot of guts. He's not afraid to call anything at any time, and when he gets a guy that's a hot rusher, we know we're going to see a lot of Adams, and we got to be ready for him because he's playing great football. He deserves a lot of credit.
How big was it for you to take care of your business at home?
It was big, to stay in the race. But there's a real big picture here that we have. We're building our team. I want to keep reiterating that to everybody. We want to build the Raiders back to what we want them to be, to what they were, a championship football team. And We might not be there, but we might be getting close. We might be making progress. That's up for the fans to decide. And we still got a lot of football left to play.
And one of the things you need to do is win big games on the road. So we're going to New York, Coach.
Yeah, we got to play the Jets. You know, I remember some days against these Jets in a playoff game here in the Coliseum, and Tim Brown with a big touchdown. And I know Jerry Rice had one of his biggest games as a Raider in this playoff game. And that's what we need from Tyrell Williams. We need it from Renfrow and Waller. We need these guys to come up big against the Jets because they're a good football team.
We're heading to New York. Let's get a win, Coach.
Let's do it. Great to see you, Townie. Thanks.
Size and speed, big and fast. Those are the most coveted attributes in today's NFL. For GM Mike Mayock, he wasn't as concerned with those when he drafted Hunter Renfrow in the 5th round. Hunter's not going to outrun you or outjump you, but he will outwork you and he will outthink you. And that's the exact player that's a fit for head coach John Gruden. Hunter Renfrow, one of my favorite stories in the NFL, and the Silver and Black were so lucky to have you. I know we talked in the preseason. Let's start at the beginning of your story. 2 national championships with Clemson. You catch the game winner from Deshaun Watson. You're part of a rookie class that is putting the league on notice. What is life like for you right now?
It's been a whirlwind. It's been a lot of fun. It's wild to me to think. 6 years ago, I was paying for my school. I was a walk-on. I was wearing number 35, which no receiver really wears 35. I guess Freddie B wore 25. But just a lot of change, just a lot of excitement. For me, I've been blessed to be a part of a bunch of special people at Clemson, obviously, who helped mold me to who I am. And thankfully, I've been a group of good guys around here that's helped me tremendously.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what number you're wearing as long as you're putting up numbers,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Obviously, Clemson fans love you so much so that they're naming children after you. Is this true? Have you met babies named Hunter?
Yeah. So after we won the national championship, it was in January, and so that following August, I guess between that time, a lot of parents had kids, and so I met 6 or 7 babies that had either Renfrow or Hunter. So a lot of cool connections and definitely family atmosphere at Clemson.
Now let's go back to last week, the 27-yard catch, because I know my household, the kids were going nuts. Just take me through that play.
The corner ball over the top?
Yes.
So yeah, the big, the third down, I guess, conversion over the top. Derek did a great job. I'm really not a first progression on that play. I'm kind of third or fourth progression. So Derek did a good job of just being a good football player. And it popped open and hit me over the top. And I really was trying to catch it and score. And I tripped a little bit. So thankfully, I was just able to catch it.
You recorded your first touchdown in Houston in front of Deshaun. That had to be such a special moment.
Yeah, that was special. It was cool. Coach Swinney texted me after the game. A lot of Clemson guys there. And Coach Swinney always talks about God winks. Sometimes God just winks at you. And so there's a picture of me and him after the game kind of hugging, and it was 4th down and 13 to go. And then you add his passing stats, his rushing stats, and my receiving stats from that game, and they add up to 413 yards. And so just little things like that. It was just a special time for me, obviously, and to be able to get that touchdown in front of him and all the other Clemson guys on the team was pretty cool.
And then to come back here, Raider Nation, pick up your first touchdown, an important one. What was that like?
Yeah, it was a big one. It was a big one because we needed it. It was cool for me because it wasn't one of those where you just catch it and it doesn't really matter. We needed it to go win the game, and that's what's important to me, is just be able to go make plays to help us win games, and so that was exciting.
As we sit here week 12, was there a specific week or a game where the light switch just turned on for you?
I think the Chicago game, I had maybe 4 or 5 targets I didn't catch, and it was right before the bye week, and I knew I was able to go home that next week, and I remember being on the sideline of that game and being like, well, if I'm be covered, if I'm gonna do bad, I might as well do bad, doing my hardest, playing my best. And so that was kind of the moment. I had so much failure during that game, I felt like, that I was like, all right, forget all this. I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna do it as hard as I can. I'm not gonna be scared of anything. And when it clicked for me in that game, I felt like Green Bay, I was able to kind of get some things going, even though I didn't have a big, statistically good game. But just be able to learn some things and not play scared.
Now let's focus on the special relationship that you have with Derek Carr, because we really saw that on Hard Knocks. You guys carpool to the games, right?
Yeah, we do. It was funny. It was the second game of the year. We're playing Kansas City at home, and we drive by the security guy, and I'm in the front passenger seat, and he's in the front seat, and Derek kind of says hey and waves him through, and he looks in the window and says, "Hey, you got your son with you today." And I look at him and I'm like, do I look that young?
Like, am I old or am I young?
I'm like 5
Because
years younger than him, and so we have a good time laughing about that.
Now let's focus on Coach Gruden and what it's been like having a coach with such a great reputation usher you into the league.
Yeah, just his football knowledge. I think where he separates himself is two things really. His football knowledge is second to none. It's unbelievable, just the amount of film he watches, and two, how much he cares for his players and how much he cares about winning. I mean, nobody gets more excited after a game than he does, and it's not because he's like, oh, look at me. He's so happy for his team and so happy for the guys.
You were born in 1995?
Yep.
So who did you grow up watching? Who were the NFL stars that you modeled your game after?
So I'm a big college fan. I love college football. And so I was always in the backyard playing football rather than watching it. But me and my dad did love watching Peyton Manning play in those teams, Indianapolis Colts with Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, and those guys. And so we always liked them. And then growing up for me, getting into middle school, high school, watching Sammy Watkins, DeAndre Hopkins, being able to play against those guys this year has been unbelievable to me. And so that's who I grew up loving and watching.
Well, and I'm sure admiring the Manning family. Your family has a lot of similarities because it's a football family. Your dad is a coach. You have several siblings. What was your household like in your upbringing?
So we have a bunch of good stories. I like to credit my mom for teaching me how to play receiver because she was so erratic and just throwing the ball everywhere. And
she was.
I was having to dive and catch it.
That's adorable.
She's not the best athlete in the world.
Oh, come on.
But my dad.
Come on, give her some credit. She's out there with you.
Yeah, she's a good mom. My dad, we did triple option offense, and that's kind of his background. And so he'd have us out and he never forced football on us. It was always just having fun. And if I grew up and I never want to play football, he'd have no problem with it. But he would have us out there blocking the trees in the front yard and running the offense and just having fun with it. So I think just watching him and my love for him and just his love for the game kind of married up really well.
What can Raider Nation expect from Hunter Renfrow?
That's a good question. Hopefully, someone who just goes and tries to earn it every day. Hopefully we always have a saying at Clemson, don't let last year's home runs count this year or last game's touchdowns count this year. And so just kind of start over and go earn it every day. That's something that I appreciate when people just go earn it. They're not given anything, they have to go earn it every single day. And so that's something I kind of just want to carry along.
Carr throwing back this way. How wide open can you be? Foster Moreau trying to spin out of trouble, goes down.
Is that Mad Max's fourth sack of the day?
It's
Mad Max with 4.
Welcome back to the Silver and Black Show. The Raiders rookies have been outstanding so far this season, so Jim, I think it's only fitting that we give them a little bit of love. I feel like I'm going to be reading this sheet a lot because the amount of stats that they're putting up, first in scrimmage yards, first in touchdowns, first in rushing yards, first in receptions, first in sacks, and that's as a unit. How impressed are you by this rookie class?
Oh, very much so, and I think John Gruden and Mike Mayock get a lot of that credit because of what they've accomplished here in bringing in these rookies, allowing them to play and putting up the numbers that they're putting up.
Let's look at our individual leaders here, starting with our running back, Josh Jacobs. He leads the rookie running backs in rushing attempts with 191. As a quarterback, it's awfully nice to have a running back you can depend on. You know,
with Josh Jacobs running the football, it makes everybody's job easier, and I think the offensive line love it because they like to play smash mouth football, open up holes for the running back, and Jacobs gets through those holes and does a phenomenal job once he does.
Hunter Renfrow, he currently leads AFC rookie receivers in total receptions, and we're coming off of last week, that catch. He's that dependable receiver right now for Derek Carr.
He is, and almost every team that plays well has that kind of receiver, the guy with the clutch hands, the great hands, makes the hard catch, and gets you a first down whenever you need it.
Well, and Foster Moreau also padded his stats a little bit last week. He currently leads rookie tight ends in touchdown catches. Fun to see him gelling with Carr.
And I've always been a big tight end fan, and when the quarterback and the tight end hit it off, a lot of good things can happen, because oftentimes you have a big, strong safety covering a tight end who can run, and that's a very difficult job for that safety.
And I also have to mention A.J. Cole, because he leads all rookie punters in average yards per punt right now.
Yeah, and we had Ray Guy, and he made a big difference in the course of a ball game, changing field position, and A.J.'s having a phenomenal year as well.
Defensively, Max Crosby, 6.5 sacks, the most in franchise history through a player's first 10 career games.
And that's what you want. You want somebody to be able to come after the quarterback, put pressure on him, he's young and people don't really have a book on him, so I think that really helps him get to the quarterback.
Going back to you mentioning Mayock and Gruden and working together and assembling, obviously, this rookie class here, Gruden said, we're getting a lot of production from our rookie class and we're going to continue to raise the bar for them. I mean, this is obviously Gruden knowing what they're capable of and continuing to push hard.
Yeah, I think it's been a great collaboration between the two, Mayock and Gruden, and they're bringing in players who can play, and right away. And you went over a lot of the stats of a lot of the rookies that are on this football team, and their drafting has really paid off for the Raiders.
All right, Jim, that's going to do it for this edition of the Silver and Black Show. On behalf of Jim Plunkett, John Gruden, Chris Townsend, and all of us here at Silver and Black Productions, thanks for watching, and go Raiders!